Hello and welcome back. It's been a while since we've done a video, and this is Frostpunk 2, as you can see. So not your usual dose of XCOM, but I was a big fan of Frostpunk 1. So we're going to do a little playthrough on Frostpunk 2 and see how we get on. It's in terms of what I played so far, I played through a couple of chapters of the story. I fired up a Utopia builder for a bit just to kind of see how that goes, and that's what we're going to do today. I don't think there's too much value in going through the story kind of per se. So we're going to do a Utopia builder kind of from scratch, sandbox Frostpunk 2 experience. The game's pretty good, I have to say. I'm actually really impressed with it. Certainly the changes made from Frostpunk 1 seems to have come across really well to 2. So let's get on with it and see where we end up. Let's see how many people we can kill. Let's see how many, communities and people we can disenfranchise. Let's go for it. Right. So Utopia Builder. So basically this is the sandbox kind of version of Frostpunk 2. So we need to select a location. Now we could. The sensible thing might be to start with location 1, which is the windswept peaks. So sheltered between mountain ranges in a small valley, this site was judged well protected from the elements with relatively easy access to key resources. As we haven't played a huge amount of the game, that might be pretty sensible. So let's go with the windswept peaks, but there are like 7 locations. There's Hanging Rock, there's the Dreadnought, which you play in the story. There's Crater, Horizon, which sounds pretty sick. Broken Shore, Fractured Gorge does sound pretty cool. Crashing glaciers have ravaged this site, leaving a deep crevasse along its centre. It offers potential geothermal power. Nice. However, other resources may be lacking. That sounds like a recipe for my entire civilization dying within a few turns. So we'll stick to windswept peaks. Now, we get some options to choose here, basically. So we get a couple of different kind of, ambitions or goals within the game. So colonize the Frostland, which means we need to establish populous food, fuel, and materials to succeed. So we need to do that. Or we can develop a metropolis. So we want a huge kind of main city population, which is another goal. Or build a prosperous future. So we want to secure a massive stockpile of fuel, goods, and materials. I think right now, where my brain is at with this game, colonize the Frostland is probably the most sensible thing to do. Then we can choose the community, so what type of factions that we want within Frostpunk 2, that are all listed here: labourers, merchants, lords, thinkers, foragers, machinists, and so on. But I'm going to randomise it. I think it'd be fun just to randomise who's going to be in our kind of starting kind of population within our city. And for difficulty, moderate challenge, but with a margin for error and room to correct mistakes. Citizen officer, challenging endeavour, still with a margin for error, but otherwise demanding focus and planning. Doesn't sound like me. Steward, I think so. Eventually, right, we'll do a captain run because we will. But while we're learning, let's get a citizen run under our belt. I'm sure we'll still fuck this up, by the way. I'm absolutely certain of that. But let's get a citizen under our belt, at least get a few episodes in. We'll see how we're doing. If it's too easy, we're going to crank it. But for now, let's see how we get on. So let's begin. Ooh, okay, we've got, I don't know what factions they are, but that's who we've got. We'll find out in a sec.
Steward.
I have to say, like, the audio design and the visuals in Frostpunk 2 are exceptional. A new beginning. The end of the world changes people. It changed us. You're not wrong there. The labourers we have, okay, factory workers and manual labourers who learned you must toil together to survive. Okay, so they're in our city. Merchants, traders, shopkeepers, skilled in enterprise and bold ventures. Nice. And foragers, natural survivalists adapted to the harsh Frostland conditions. Okay, so we're the steward. It's our job to build a bright future for everyone. And do you know what? They have my full commitment for this until such time as we need to reload. As I said, the visuals and stuff for Frostpunk 2 are just insane, by the way. As is the audio design. It's fantastic. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is okay. The work of building a promised land begins. Resources run low after years of barely getting by. We must expand. We must construct basic infrastructure to begin researching better methods. We also need a council to vote on common rules. One of the best new features in the game, by the way. And we must learn to live together lest we die apart. I will build a bright future. Me. Right. Okay. So let's pause. Let's just have a little stop and a think here, right? So these are our goals. We've got to establish a populous food colony, so up to 10,000 units of food. Same for fuel and same for materials. So this whole colonize the Frostland overarching sort of objective set. And we also need to eliminate all problems from the city, of which we have quite a lot, 5 currently. So just to give you a little bit of a recap, if you haven't played any Frostpunk ever, or certainly if you haven't played 2, up here we've got our population. This is going to show whether it's increasing or decreasing. We've got our workforce, so this is the percentage of the population that are available to work, so basically the people that are not children or elderly who are available to work. And this is, again, the same workforce screen here. Heat stamps is basically your income, so your gold or your pounds or dollars or whatever. And again, we'll have to enact some policies and set up industry and stuff to help get this boosted, because we're only getting income of 13 a week at the moment, but we're actually only kind of seeing, actually, due to unmet demand for goods, we're actually losing 3.6 heat stamps per week, which is not good. Prefabs. So prefabs is what you build all your buildings with. So we're going to actually need to start constructing prefabs or finding new prefabs at some point. We can gather them from the environment around us. And cores. So cores basically are like a tech limitation. So you need cores to research certain techs, build certain buildings, etc. Heat. Probably the most important thing in Frostpunk is making sure that we have enough heat to heat the population. Otherwise, we're going to start dying. Coal, which is probably going to be our first order of the day, securing more coal so that we can actually fuel the generator. That's always the first thing to do. Oil, if we can get it. We're going to have to do some exploration to get oil. That would be huge. And steam as well. So you can also power your generators with steam as well as coal's, like you say, level 1. Then you're talking oil and then up to steam. So shelter, so basically how many houses available do we have for the community? So as you can see at the moment, we're actually, we have only 40 homes or shelters, and we have a demand of 107, so we're 67 short. That's one of those problems we need to resolve quite quickly, because this contributes really heavily to this here. So these here are the kind of ailments, the things that can be going wrong. So cold is actually increased a lot by shelter scarcity, and we are fucked on shelter scarcity, which is nice. Food, we're actually kind of okay. We have a huge stockpile of food which will last for 68 weeks, so we need to start producing more, obviously, but we're not in a terrible, it is depleting because we're not producing anything yet, but we will start producing obviously food, so that's, we're okay there. We have a stockpile of materials, but we don't have any coming in yet. Again, we'll need to set that up. And goods as well. So goods is an interesting thing in this. I didn't really understand goods, and I'll be honest, I still don't really. So we have an unfulfilled demand for goods, and what goods kind of contributes to, based on what I've seen so far, it's like crime rates and stuff. So the fact that if we don't have enough goods to support the local population, then people will start stealing from each other, which is a problem. Big thing in Frostpunk, temperature. The colder it gets, the harder it gets. And we will get warmer seasons, colder seasons, and potentially whiteouts as well, which is where shit gets real dark. And when we get there, we will have some Frostland teams. So we'll need to set up a logistics station to basically make sure we can have Frostland teams. Then we can start exploring the wider world beyond just our little settlement you can see here kind of right now. Again, as along here, you've got hunger, which is obviously one of the things that can cause problems, disease, cold, squalor, so basically just not having a nice environment to live in, and crime, which is the other one. So these are the things that are going to fuck us up. Right, then along the bottom, there's a lot of things to click on, unfortunately. So these are the 3 factions we've got here in our... So we've got the foragers. Now, what's interesting here is that they make up 20% of the population. And we're going to need to think about this when we're enacting laws and how we're going to start kind of negotiating with these different communities. We've got the labourers here. They make up 41%. And then we've got the merchants who make up 39. So these are actually the merchants and the labourers are actually the biggest. 80% of the population basically is these 2 boys. So you can, and you probably will, get new colonies and communities emerging within the city as it grows, which it gets really interesting from a sort of political standpoint, but we'll cross that bridge. And then, of course, here, these are the kind of, I guess... I don't know what the best word to call these is, but these are sort of these are kind of I guess tracks that we can go down. We can head towards progress, which is to build machines. So we will bend nature to our will and we will thrive, or we can adapt to the cold. So fighting against the cold is futile. We'll need to adapt. So these are 2 kind of like narrative paths we can go down, and the choices we make for research, laws, we'll start building towards these things. So merit and equality is the other, and tradition and reason the other two. So we can build towards bits of both, and each of these factions again will have a sort of alignment to these different belief systems. Belief systems is the right word. That was what I was looking for down here in the left. And then here, this is how we're going to build. So we can build districts, we can build individual buildings, we can construct hubs as well, which is cool, and frost break areas. So we'll need to frost break areas before we can build on them in some circumstances. Right. So let's have a little look around the old map. So, well, the easiest thing to do here is we can build housing, food, extraction, industry, and logistics. So we've got prefabs right outside our border, which is decent. So we can start actually kind of hooking this up quickly. But what we do need to connect to rapidly is coal. So we're gonna need to get out here to this coal and set up an extraction district. That's probably going to be the first order of business. There's also actually a way station, and this is where we're going to get those Frostland teams to start exploring the wider world. So we're definitely going to be frost breaking out this way to get all this coal online pretty quickly. There is a geothermal spring here, which is really interesting. So this basically gives us a certain amount of natural heat, so it's good to build on, because your buildings that are out here will get a natural source of heat from the environment. So we'll need to think about that. Out here we got our kind of fertile land. Again, another geothermal spring. So we'll be building our food industry, our food zone out here. We've got frozen, so we've got materials here, a lot of it, which is good. Another way station. We've got more resources here in terms of materials. I'm just seeing, so the only prefabs we've got are here and here, so that's interesting. And there is also an iron vein up here. Okay, cool. Now the biggest issue we've probably got right now is housing. That is absolutely cucked. So let's press play and let's get cracking on. So we're going to have to start ice breaking. So these, the grey area is all we can build on the grey area, but what we're going to need to do is frost break out here to make sure. Now again, we have to do 8 tiles. So I've managed to get all of them in 7 there. But if I think about actually the way station as well, we're probably going to want to do that. So if we get our frost breaking teams out here to break the ice, and then we can obviously start building on this. Because coal is the first thing we really desperately want to bring online. Like, it's a really, really big deal. I said we actually had some prefabs here. So we could actually get a small extraction district here. The only thing is I haven't really got enough time. I'm going to want to break some of this. I'm going to have to send out another frost breaking team, aren't I, really realistically. So if we were to sort of frost break just generally around this area, just to create some more space, so that the districts have got to have like a certain minimum size. And as you can see, our frost breakers are now out here doing their thing and breaking that up. Heat stamps is the currency, as we discussed. So what I really want to do, as soon as these guys have finished frost breaking, we want to get some coal extraction set up, and we want to get some materials, and then probably food, but also housing. Now I wouldn't mind building on the geothermal out here, but we're going to have to frost break out to this, because we could create actually kind of a sort of settlement area over here. Now you get adjacency bonuses for building like stuff close to other stuff, but you also get some negative stuff. So for example, you don't want to build your housing district near your industry or near your bloody near all your noisy stuff. But I think all of our noisy stuff is actually going to be on this side of the map, so this would kind of make sense. So if we get this frost breaking crew here, this is actually a really big area, so I'm going to want to double frost break this almost. But let's get this extraction district set up as well. So okay, that's a pretty good start. That's quite a lot of the coal. Now this coal resource here with the kind of infinity sign on it is going to require different technology to eventually extract. But what we just want to do is crack on and get that being built. And we're going to want to build out to the way station too. But in terms of breaking the ice this way, and again there's another geothermal here, so this is going to make sense to get our ass out here ASAP, and then I'll frost break that as well. So what you can start to see now is up here some of our workforce has been employed because they're frost breaking or they're building the extraction district. So your workforce, obviously we can't just constantly send teams out doing loads of different stuff, otherwise we'll literally run out of population. But we can and we should also build out towards these materials. Now these red zones here, because they're exposed to the wind, you get minus 20 heat, so it's not great, but we're going to need to get some of these materials. So let's frost break out here and start thinking about that. So this is going to be our first zone online. Now housing, right, so each of these districts has a kind of a cost, so we need 200 prefabs, and we've got a shitload of prefabs at the moment, but I did want to build it out here, so I'm probably going to wait on housing until this is done. And actually when this is done, I probably want to expand a bit further to all of this geothermal area, and when that's done I will build a kind of a housing area out here. It doesn't matter that you're too far away from the city in terms of the heat, because we can also build a heat generator out here. It's one of the buildings. So you get a research institute we need to build. Actually, one thing we need to crack on with is the council hall. This is how we're going to start doing laws and stuff, so we'll get that building as well. We're frost breaking out here, we're frost breaking out here. We're doing good. It's all going well, and our first extraction zone for coal is just starting to spin up out here as well, so that's decent. We're still getting lots of kind of tutorial stuff. I probably need to read it, but you know, we'll just fly by the seat of our pants for now. I will also as well, we will speed up time once we get going, but right now I just kind of want to make sure that I'm on top of everything, and being on top of housing is the next thing on my list. So once this is built, we'll get some okay, so our extraction zone is set up here. So basically this is going to output for us 120 coal, and we have 571 weeks remaining. However, that is inclusive of the deep coal vein, and we need the deep melting drill to do that. So we've only got access to the kind of normal coal deposits, so we'll see. But we have an empty building slot here, which we can build this other mining drill in that slot. So that's good, that's set up and that's done. We'll do laws in a minute. Right, this has all been done now. So let's get a housing district. Now this is actually kind of huge, because you get plus 20 heat from just being out here. I need to think about this logically, actually. I actually don't want to do that. I want to build on this side of it, because you can expand districts naturally as well. As the cold problem in the city continues to worsen, we must take appropriate action to protect our citizens. In these harsh conditions, people need a roof over their heads. Yeah, I'm working on it. Okay, I'm doing my best. But cool. So we're now extracting coal. So we're now producing here. Now we are now producing coal, basically, which is good. So we're up online. We've got a housing district coming out here, which is going to be our big housing district out in this corner. Food, right? So food district. I need to do more ice breaking out here. I need more space. Let's think about this logically, because I want to try and get this one in if I can. Okay, so that's now frost breaking, so we're good. Right, well, housing is going up. Okay, so I think we're in a good spot. Right, I did actually have
an automaton has broken down.
Now, I do want to build a small extraction district here to kind of pick up all these sort of ruins here. So that's good enough, because we want to start extracting those prefabs as well. So we're kind of just making sure that we hit all the key resource nodes like quite quickly, and we've got to hit materials here, and materials is also extraction. Now, exposed to the wind makes this a bit shit, if I'm honest, but we need to extract some materials, otherwise we're just, you know, it's just not going to be good for us. But we are now, as you can see, starting to run a bit lower on the prefabs and the income now, as we're kind of setting all of this kind of infrastructure up. I would also, if I can, get another frost mining team out here, because you have to build on the way station for it to basically work. So let's get another frost breaking team out there. And we're kind of, like I say, we're just setting up all the core areas at the moment, and once they're set up, we'll then reevaluate the position we're in with goods. Now goods, we need to set up an industrial zone to start creating goods from the materials and the prefabs that we're kind of extracting from the land. So we're going to have to think about where we're going to put that. So if we're putting, did I build a food zone? I didn't. No, food district. This is going to be the problem with this game, by the way, like just how many fucking things I've got to do. And then we've got geothermal. This could be another housing district, to be fair. But let's get the food zone, because again, we're not currently producing any food, we're just consuming, so that's a problem. But we're in a good spot. Let's get this housing district set up in literally one turn. Now that's dropped the need to 47, but as you can tell, it's still not really enough. Now what we can do though now is actually just expand this district and provide an additional building slot, so that's kind of huge. So we're going to expand this, and we're going to expand by 3 into the rest of the geothermal, so that's going to expand that settlement now. Then we can expand it again, and we'll basically then the kind of area will upgrade to a high-rise zone, so that's always decent. And again, all zones can be expanded as well, so we can also, now we haven't got enough heat stamps because we're down to 49 and we need 50, but we can also expand this when we're done to get more of the coal deposits included by default. So we can probably go 1, 2, 3. Oh, can I get all 3? That would actually be enormous. Oh, sick. Okay, so we'll expand that zone as well and pick those up. Food district is coming online, and again, this is going to start extracting this here. And what we need to be careful, so the output here 150, but then we've got to be careful of the demands that each of these areas are putting on our economy and our systems. Now, in every area so far, just by default, goes up to 100%. You can ramp this down or up to reduce the output, but obviously there's negatives and positives and negatives to doing that. Okay, so we're in a good place. So what I think we'll do is I could do with getting a research institute up, but I need 100 heat stamps, so we'll just let the game run a bit. Right. Let's go to the council, because this is the best thing about Frostpunk 2 in my opinion, like the absolute best thing by a country mile. So this is where we're going to be enacting all of our laws. So this is also where we're going to get demands from the various different communities within our colony. So let's just have a little look at what each of them want. So labourers, again, as I said, originating from factory workers, they value equality and the needs of the many over the individual, and they represent 41% of the city. And their thing, is around equality. So they want a law to pass on supported quarantine in the contagion prevention kind of tree. So that's something we can have a think about, and that is a good first place to kind of look. Merchants, again, very similar size. They want infectious badge. Now we'll also have a look at like what's the best thing that I just want to do, because I think this is about, I'm the leader of this fantastic colony, so it's up to me what we bloody do. And the foragers, obviously, they represent a much smaller population, but they want us to focus on community service, expedition support. So what we need to decide on, essentially, from a laws perspective, is what we're going to actually do. And it's quite cool. You can actually click on individual delegates and kind of see what they're up to. So this is a labourer. Watched a dear friend succumb to scarlet fever. That's not good. Paints trite sayings on scrap and hangs them in her house. Loves talking about her jam recipes. Okay, cool. So what we'll do from a law perspective, I think we'll go on, I don't know where it was. Is it city? Contagion prevention. Now, so we know the labourers want this. So this is supported by them. But then, so disease is significantly decreased, which is good. But shelter demand per capita is increased, which is a bit shit, considering we currently have a housing problem. Contagious people will be placed in quarantine and cared for by the city in dedicated accommodation. So any disease will be dealt with that way. Or we can go infectious badge. Contagious people will be required to wear a specific badge that allows them to limit their actions with whoever they deem appropriate. So tension will increase on this because this is a bit of a social unrest thing, and diseases decrease, but not significantly. So. And here, people are divided on this. We've got 35 people, hesitant 49 against 16. So I think we'll propose this law. I think putting badges on people, as we know through historical narratives, is never a good idea. So we'll propose this law. But then what we can do is we can actually negotiate. Because this law, it might go through, because there are 49 hesitant people that might vote for this. But what we can do is negotiate. So the labourers, they're partially open to negotiate because they're mostly for this anyway. They want this anyway, so we don't need to worry about them. The merchants are mostly against, but they will negotiate. And the foragers are open to negotiate, but mostly hesitant. So really, if I negotiate with with the foragers here, we should get 61 votes here, and most laws need 51 to pass. So we should actually get here, and they're mostly against. They won't all be against. So let's negotiate with the foragers. So so basically, what I'm saying is, lads, if you vote for this, I'll give you something. So what we can do here, I can grant them the next agenda, so they get to choose the next law to be voted for on the council, which is fine, because they might vote for something I want or I don't, or that I just don't care about anyway. Or we can commit to putting foraged additives in. Don't really want to do that. This is where we add kind of they only want natural things to be added to food and no, like, you know, artificial shit in food, which is not a terrible thing. And then also they would like durable goods. So in order to make best use of scarce resources, we will focus on producing sturdy and easily repairable goods. And goods demand per capita decreasing is actually kind of huge. But what I think I'll do for now, just because we're early game, I'll say, look, if you guys vote for this, which means I've already got 51 votes for, you guys, I'll give you the next vote. Basically, you can choose the next law. So if we now vote for this on supported quarantine, we should get our 51 required votes, which we do, and maybe a few more. Yeah, pass these.
Votes are in. The measure passes.
Nice. Right, so our first law has been enacted. So now what I need to do now for the foragers, I now have 39 weeks to grant them agenda on the next council, basically. We want this next. I need 62 more heat stamps.
A new rule enters into force.
Okay, so that's our first law. Lovely. Right, what we need to do is think about expanding our housing district out here again, if I can. I need to actually frostbreak a load more space, so let's get out and do that. Swing the camera. Alright, get the frostbreakers out so I can expand this colony. I'll have to probably do frostbreak on this side as well. Because here, as you can see at the moment, the most pressing thing is the cold because of the lack of shelter, basically. So that's a problem. We're also going to need to set up an industrial zone to start producing goods soon as well. And this is the problem with this game. It's basically plate spinning. Now what we can do with this, for this grant agenda for the foragers, you can actually just do it now. So the next vote, I have 39 weeks to do it, otherwise they'll get pissed. But do you know what, boys? I'll grant you agenda for the next council meeting. You can choose which law you want to be voted for. It doesn't necessarily mean that their law will go through, like, not a chance, basically. But it means they at least get to put on the table. And to be honest, I'm not that fussed. Like, you boys do what you want to do. We've got a band, we've got more prefabs here. So again, I wouldn't mind frost breaking out this way again. Just to, even if I'm not going to build on it yet, but I want to get out to these prefabs ASAP to be able to build. Okay, so we've got an extraction zone here. We've got our coal extraction happening up here, which is nice. We're now outputting 150 now, and we've got 2 slots as well. Now, a research station is the play, but I need 100 heat stamps for that. We need to start researching new tech, basically. So I need to wait for these heat stamps to come in. So let's not buy anything. So now we will just speed up the time a little bit. But housing is our biggest cock at the moment. That is a problem. But I need to start. But what we can do with cold and stuff is through our research, we can start reducing, researching some heating technology, which is obviously going to help as well. So we've just got a very big kind of income problem at the moment. And again, we might have to enact a law to help with this, to kind of boost our income a little bit. Because I haven't actually got enough, due to cold, 80 froze to death. That's not good. A cold wave has taken lives in the city. People were found frozen not only in the open streets, but some in houses and workplaces as well. The air is thick with anger and grief. Yeah, okay, I get it. They want the council to ensure new laws can help with fighting this crisis. Like, I'm working on it, so trust has fallen. So, trust is here, overall trust. I am marginally decreased by merchants, but mostly I'm in good favour with everybody at the moment, as due to this yellow bar. And this is the tension of the city. As this black goop fills this bar, the more tension there is in the city. There can be rebellions, I can be kicked out, all sorts of things, which I'm sure will happen very soon. Right, we're a couple of heat stamps away from being able to build our research institute, so literally next week we'll have enough to build this. And then we're going to need to really start thinking about what we do next. Because the thing is, I've plonked quite a lot of zones out at the minute. And Right, okay, we've got enough. So now we can build our research institute. Now, research institutes, you need to have zones with an open building space, and we do have one here. So let's put our research institute here. Cool. A vote on expedition support will be held in 10 weeks. So this is what the foragers wanted to go on the list. They might get it passed anyway, you know. Nobody's against it, but what it means is that everyone must aid expeditions by helping them prepare for their journeys. This is not a bad law to be. I could not care less whether this goes through or not. So we'll just let that. I don't need to do any negotiation on that. The amount of promises you can give other communities does have a limit. You can't just like infinitely promise them votes and stuff. So again, we do need to pick and choose kind of when we want to do that. Right. So I think expanding housing is the order of the day. I just need food stamps, so I can expand this region again. I do also, again, you even need heat stamps for this. So we've got a major kind of income issue at the moment in that this is absolutely cucking us. Research institute constructed. Right, nice. Now the only problem with research is it costs money. So we need ideas to move forward. However, different communities may propose diverging answers to the same issue. They will only pursue solutions that align with their worldview. So again, all of our factions are going to want us to do different stuff. Now, I think housing insulation is a really good idea. So base heat demand of housing districts is decreased by using asbestos lining. Now, you know, asbestos not the best in the world, but labourers and foragers agree with this. Everybody basically agrees with this, so this is a good thing to do. But I need the 50 credits, so we'll have to wait until we've got 50. Heat stamps basically, which we have got now, but I'm going to prioritize expanding. Should I prioritize expanding housing or should I do the research? Probably should do the research, right? That's the long term gain. So let's get this research going. So that's not going to take some time, and we are getting closer to this vote in 5 weeks as well. There is a bit of tension rising here. It's because of the severe cold, so I really need to start building more houses, otherwise we've got a big issue. We're also, as a result, extreme cold because of it, and this is all being caused by shelter scarcity. So really, we probably, rather than banging out all of these districts, we probably could have done some more housing. Yeah, another 79 froze to death. That's a problem. But never mind. Right, what we got going on over here? Okay, Sue Miller. Cindy's pa went and got her a governess, like she's going to be a duchess or something. Not on our watch. We roughed up the little bitch, all right. Oh god. Ferguson's boys will learn from this too if they try and wife us again tonight. We'll pull razors and say we'll cut out their eyes. It'll be good fun. But what we want is a proper rumble. Short blades only. Who wants to play? So the lack of a law regulating childhood is causing tension to rise, and if we don't address these things, they will spiral into other events. So we need to be careful. So childhood law then might be something we want to think about. But I am also now just going to expand this zone here to create some more housing because, as I said, we're really struggling. I'm going to have to create a whole new housing zone, to be honest, up here as well, somewhere. We can also look at putting one over here because of this guy's. Did we actually mine this out? I need 30 heat stamps. Come on, give me 5 more heat stamps. Come on. Did we frost break all of this? No, we did not. Right, frost break all of this, please. Because again, we could build another housing thing out here. Okay, expedition support is now in force. So the foragers actually, they got their way. They got their vote to pass. So that's good for them. So they're going to be happy now. Again, so relations are neutral, but this bar is pretty far around. When it gets around to here, it goes like gold. We're losing a lot of people. Oh shit. 78 people throws to death. It's not a good look. We're going to sort it out. I just need some cash. Right, I've got cash. Right. So basically, this housing district, if I just pause a second. So now I can't expand this anymore. Basically, it's got 2. So it's now classed as a high-rise housing district. So at the moment, we can't expand again. So we're going to have to build a new housing district, which we can then expand. But again, I don't really have enough space to do anything sort of meaningful. I think what we could do is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm gonna need to mine out all of this. So let's get another whole housing district set up. Again, we can't Frostbreak yet because I need some more credits, and I'll basically mine all of this out. Okay. Asbestos lining done, so that's good. Right, so let's now actually Frostbreak all of this out here. Create some more space for expanding this housing district in the fullness of time. As soon as this gets built, obviously, you'll see the housing crisis start to ease a little bit. Probably should have addressed that first, in fairness. So now we can. So now we've got housing insulation, which is good. And by the way, so this is just the heating. We can do upgrades to resources, upgrade to Frostland, city, society, and hubs. We've got loads of research, and some of these obviously branch off into other things as well. So doing pretty good, but we need this housing district to be finished like ASAP and see how further in the hole are we as a result. If I can just get enough houses for everybody, I think a lot of the problems will start to go away, and then I can focus on other shit. Okay, down to minus 29. Okay, what have you got to say? A profitable day. The first couple were all rags and bones, but then there was this woman with real ruby earrings. Ought to cover the arrival fee. So basically, there's new people joining our city. Basically, maybe we should get around. Got to take about what else. A lack of a law regulating outsiders is decreasing population growth. Okay, so I think we're going to want to in 1 week we can enact a new law. So, but for now, let's expand this housing zone to here. Again, let's just get some more houses being built. So we'll expand this zone. So we're just creating a kind of a sort of mega city over here for the time being. That will get that down again. And again, we're going to probably need 3 housing districts to solve this, if I'm honest. But in 3 days, we're going to pass a law. So I think we'll pass the law on, or we'll try and get a law passed on the outsiders, because I don't want that causing a problem. Council is now open. I think this is the coolest thing about this game, the kind of horse trading you need to do with all the different factions and stuff to get your kind of what you want to happen through. So, city, outsiders. So, 2 options here. So we can accept all outsiders. We'll welcome anyone to join our city and share in its benefits regardless of their ability. So population growth is increased, and this is supported by the labourers, obviously because they just want more people, right? But, again, 16 against, 35 for, 49 hesitant. Or we can allow productive outsiders. So we're only going to let in people who will contribute to the city. So this means percentage of active workers will increase over time. That's good. Population growth is marginally increased. So we're not going to get a booming population from this. And heat stamps has increased as well. So I think we're going to go for this. This is backed by the merchants. So if we propose this, and if we negotiate, who can we kind of get on site? The labourers are mostly against this. But again, if we was kind of negotiate with the foragers again and say, lads, if you vote for this, now we can untreated sawmill, dust coal mine, and compressed into bricks to make maximum use of resource. That's not bad. Or I can grant them another agenda. To be honest, what I might want to do is, so these are untreated sawmill and dust coal mine are basically kind of dirty ways of improving our infrastructure. There are cleaner ways of doing it, but obviously these guys are foragers, they're a bit old school. Do I give them agenda again? Or do I just promise them that I'm going to research? The thing is, as long as I research it, I don't need to build the thing, but I do need to research it. I think we're okay for coal right now. What do I want to do here? I don't really want to give them agenda again, because I'd like to get that child law enacted next, and then obviously they could just choose their own shit. We could obviously, again, we can pitch people, if people are voting for stuff that we don't want them to do, like the first vote the foragers did about expedition support, like fine, that doesn't go against what I'm trying to do, but we can also get people to vote against laws as well. I think we'll research this if you vote for this, basically. So this should get us over the line, basically. So if you boys do that, I'll research it within the time period. So let's get this vote through on allow only productive outsiders. Please pass. Alright, passed. Cool.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Alright, we're good. Law passed.
In.
Nice. So now I need to research this, but I've got a lot. You've got 39 weeks to do it. So I've got a while. I just need to remember to do it. Right, so we're expanding here, some more housing, which is good.
The delegates have reached a decision.
As we can see here, the temperature is due to drop again soon, twice. So it's only going to keep getting worse, this. I am thinking as well, from a buildings perspective, we could build a heating hub. We need heat stuff. We could build a heating hub out here to help support these. Total output 25, total demand 0, because it's still expanding. Yeah, it's expanded, I think. These houses are just very cold because they're not near to the central heat stuff. So now that we can expand this one more time, we need the heat steps. I'm tempted to, we're down to only need 24 extra houses now, so we've almost sorted this. So I am thinking, do you know what? Fuck it, let's just expand this again. Now we don't want to go close to the extraction district. Again, let's expand that, and then we've got another kind of set of houses. Right, now this is what's also going to happen is here. So this resource is nearly depleted. So there's only 275 prefabs remaining, 18 weeks, which is not a huge amount. But once this is done, we can actually close this down, and then we can almost join up our housing districts here. And then there are also prefabs out here, right? Yeah, there are. So what I need to do is start frost breaking out here a bit, because we need to go and pick these prefabs up before we start producing. You can produce prefabs yourself through materials, but we need to build an industrial zone, which will probably be out here, I guess, sort of in the fullness of time. But we're going to need to do some frost breaking, quite a bit of it. So we do that and just kind of frost break out this whole area. That would be good. So this is depleting now, which is fine. We're expanding here, so we're going to have another set of housing come online in a second. How long have I got on this? 34 weeks. Let's just check how long it takes to research the sawmills. So resources. So we've promised them that we'll do untreated sawmills, which is 10 weeks. So I've got loads of time. Loads of time for this to do. We can also like enact things like emergency shifts and stuff.
Newcomer outsiders, be reminded.
Okay.
To
Cool.
maintain your residency
So
rights,
now only
you
minus
must
19.
remain productive
So one more
at
housing
all
zone,
times.
and I think we'll be Gucci here. I might want to frost break some, because what we do when this is officially depleted, you can basically we can demolish it and get the heat stamps back and some of the prefabs back, and then I can kind of join up a big sort of long housing district here. Now again, have I got much more food? Like, yeah, there's more food resources out here that I can build on, so that's decent. There's also a ton of like materials out here, but it's all in that horrible like windy zone, so not the best. We're also going to need to think about building stockpiles for different kind of industries, heating, fuel, goods, you know, to allow us to stockpile things rather than just constantly use them. Feral children, no common rules. Stuart, 5 children are dead and dozens lay wounded after 2 large youth gangs met for what they called the Rumble, the Royal Rumble. Most of the children were armed with knives. The fighting escalated to a full-scale battle. As the parents of the deceased mourn, many insist these children should not have been left unattended. Yeah, I know. Indeed, many backstreet alleys seem to have been overtaken by uncared for youth. Some areas are beginning to be dangerous for even adults. So again, this is because we don't have a law enacting regulating childhood. It's causing crime and tension. So I will resolve this. The next council, I'll resolve this. Which is actually open in a week. So we can actually... 5 children died at the Royal Rumble. That's not good. That is not good. Okay, so next thing I'm actually thinking is industrial zone. We've got enough prefabs. Can we actually build it? Okay, so this is where we can, we will get bonuses for being adjacent to the city, the main city, but what I don't want to be is close to housing. So if we think about building this zone sort of here, just outside the city on this right hand side, which is where we're probably going to be building more industry anyway. So we're going to create an industrial zone here, which means we can start producing these goods to get the goods demand down as well. Okay, we're doing okay, I think. I need to research the sawmill and pass any law in the childhood category. That's fine. We're working on it. And then I do want to get a logistics station set up so I can start exploring the wilds. And I still need another 19 houses. Significant increase by heat scarcity. Now with the generator, so basically we are producing this much output, but the demand is the red. So we're currently short of demand, but we can put on the overdrive to turn up the heat, but I don't think it's necessary yet. We're only at -20. We're going to go down again twice before the temperature comes back up. So I think we'll just hold the line for now, and we'll do our best. Connecting more coal. Is there any more coal actually out here that I haven't connected? There is one. There is one more coal tile. So again, we could extend this sort of industrial extraction snake, we'll call it, out from there. Yeah, because we've got a bit of a unfilled heat demand here because the generator's only outputting 150 and we've got a demand of 190. So connecting up another coal resource here. I can't expand this anymore though, so I actually have to build a new zone, which kind of sucks. That's a problem. Or we research technology. Right, let's research the sawmills, because I said I was going to do this. Untreated sawmills. So you get more material output, but disease slightly increases. But the other option is to do a normal sawmill, where you get less material output, but you're not going to poison the entire population. But because I've committed to it, we'll research it. And, you know, right, okay, cool. So now we have this. So we can choose whether we want our industrial district to focus on creating more prefabs. But I think we're okay for prefabs. This is going to deplete soon, though. But we know we've got more prefabs out here. So I'm actually going to get this to focus on producing goods, which has now reduced our goods surplus down to -11. So that's kind of huge. Okay, we're getting there. Separated families. Allow productive outsiders. Steward, a large group of people has set up a camp outside the city by one of our checkpoints. They claim to be relatives of outsiders we let in. My daughter is alone in there, said a distressed mother. You need to let me in. She needs me. After checking, we told her that her daughter, a 15-year-old laundress, is safe and doing well, but the mother won't budge. Like her, the others are refusing to leave until they are let in. What should we do? Relax the law to keep families together or keep a strict policy. So we'd increase our reputation with the merchants by doing this. Allowing productive acts will increase the percentage of active workers in the population less efficiently. Can we separate families? I don't think we can. I think we relax the law here. Maybe I'm being a bit of a pussy, but I think we just relax the law. Like, fine. We'll let them in. As long as they're part of the family, we'll let them in. This is where in a minute someone will get murdered by somebody who we just let in. But that's okay. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. We'll deal with it. Right, so we're starting to sort of get our mind the pun, our house in order here. We're still not creating more food than we've got enough food because of the stockpile, but we are depleting. The same with materials. So I do need to kind of expand our food district if we can in a minute. I think we're going to have to expand our food production. So if we get to 50...
Please give the right of way to frost-breaking teams in transit.
So we're going to bring online 2 more nodes in this food district. We're producing goods in this industrial district. We're producing stuff. We've got 199 weeks left. Now, as you'll see, there are a limited amount of deposits in our thing here. We will run out, which is why we need to get the logistics, the way station online to find more shit and connect other colonies to this one, so that we can kind of focus on that. Right, I think another housing district has got to be next on the agenda, to be honest. I also need to pass a law now in the childhood category. Right, let's do that. So society, childhood, common rules. Okay, so if we don't enact a law, crime is significantly increased. So we've got family apprenticeship. So all children must work alongside one of their relatives so that they can learn their trade and continue their family tradition. 24, 80 hesitant, none again. We could probably get this through without actually negotiating. Same with mandatory school. Guarantee that all children have the skills and knowledge needed in the city. We would establish a mandatory school program. So research speed would be increased, but heat stamps would be decreased. Now that's a problem. I think we'll go family apprenticeship, and I'm going to see if this will pass because it's 80 hesitant. I only need 30 of those 80, so I don't think we need to negotiate on this. Let's just put this law to a vote. That's the 20 who were for it. Yeah. It was close. Very close. Okay. Good. So trust has risen now. So family apprenticeship has been enacted. We are researching that sawmill. So that's going to make our friend the foragers happy. They are the happiest with us out of anybody so far, which is interesting because, you know,
take note.
They are the smallest population in the city. I should probably think about the other 80% of the population, maybe in a minute. So yeah, we're doing well. I think we're kind of getting to, you know, an hour now. So we're going to think about wrapping this episode up before we really push on. So as a bit of a recap then, I think we need to finish this, dealing with this housing crisis and resolve this. This is almost depleted now. So actually... Right, it's got 2 weeks left, so let's speed the time up so this is depleted fully, and then we'll pack this up and we'll build another housing district like literally right here, and then it's going to be logistics. That's got to be the next thing that we do to get the old way station up and running, and then we can start exploring the Frostland a bit more. Nearly depleted. Officially depleted, right? So what we do now here is we will pack this up. So we'll demolish this district. All in buckets up the stairs. The elevator broke again. It's the newcomer kid, I'm sure. Little imps ride it up and down all day. Parents are no better. They push into the queues, buy up all the meat, get drunk around like wild animals. What do they contribute to the city? Who do they think they are, acting like they own the place? You amended the allow productive outsiders law. I knew there was obviously going to be a kickback for letting families and stuff in together, so that's the kickback. So if we demolish this, we can now set up a housing district here because we've got a lot more space. Because I think, again, I haven't actually fully mined this out yet. So once this is demolished, it will actually give me quite a bit of space to move. 77 froze to death. Now, people freezing to death also helps the housing crisis, so let's not overlook that fact. Foragers' demands met. The foragers delighted you kept their word. Okay, so we kept their word. We kept our word with them and researched the sawmill, which we could now build, I guess. But I think we'll let this kind of just... To close out the episode 1 of our Frostpunk 2 playthrough, I think we will just let this industrial district disappear here, and then when we come back for episode 2, we'll be ready to get our next housing district up, and then, as I said, we're going to be heading out into the wide world and setting up our way station and our logistics outpost. So that was episode 1, bit of a whirlwind, but we're getting there. We are resolving problems. We've got some more problems looming, but you know we're tackling them one by one, and we are not far off. Where are we? Week 72, day 3. Day 90, we're going to drop temperature again twice over the next. This is going to get to minus 40 by here. That's going to cause us a hell of a problem, so we need to start planning for that. But thank you for watching episode 1 of our Frostpunk playthrough, and I will catch you at the start of episode 2.